Hi, Jerht Santos here of the Coach PH. Remember to click the subscribe button to be updated with our latest videos.
Edmund, in one of your videos, I think it was with Trader Wave, you mentioned that you started journaling your trades in 2009. Is that correct? And I think, how did that discipline help you to become the trader that you are today? I mean, I read about Nicholas Darvas doing that same thing.
Yeah.
I read about Jesse Livermore doing about that same thing. You're learning from that mistakes. And to do that early on, how important was that in the way you developed as a trader?
You know, I don't even know why I started doing it. I think I just wanted to keep a record of like my performance. So that's and because wala naman recording ng performance dati, diba? So until today, I use that same Excel sheet. So if you look at my Excel sheet, it's probably up until 2009, 2010. So I have a record of every single trade I've done since then. That's why when I look back at it, I was so surprised that I was able to, like, kahit bulok na journaling, like back then, kasi wala naman format before. So, but the fact that you did it, right, I felt it was so powerful because then you're able to review like some of the mistakes. Kasi, look, I'll tell you, some people like to be an ostrich, where they dig their heads deep into the sand, right, and be in denial, right, when it's already stuck in your face that you're not making money, or diba? So it's very easy for somebody to be in denial. They always sound like it's like a gambler. Let's say, like, ang laki ng kinikita ko, diba? But if you look at the account, it's still flat. Right? So sometimes you like to be in denial. Then I'm doing so well, diba? Parang ganun, diba? But if you look at the statistics, it's not. Right? So it's the same thing as an ostrich, where sometimes we're in denial. And that's the reason why you want to keep a record keeping. And it's also for hindsight also. So like some of the trades that you did make money or you sold, sometimes you want to do a hindsight analysis to see what you could have done better. Right? So I think fortunately on that end, I was able to like document everything I've done. So I do believe that is a big contribution to where I am also today.
So you paid for the mistake na no? Parang may tuition fee na, might as well learn from it, from that mistake.
But I'll tell you, maraming ayaw because it's very difficult. I mean, it's like mali ka na. Sometimes we're wired to think that we're still right.
Right.
Diba?
So it goes back to ego and denial. I mean, you don't want to face what's wrong.
Same thing in business.
Yeah.
Same thing in life. Diba?
Yeah.
Let's say like your relationship, there's already a problem. You're still in denial. Before it explodes and then it turns into a disaster. Same thing with business. Right? Sometimes you're looking at business and I mean, you're a failure to innovate and you're in denial that people are still, diba? Then it's easy for you to explode and self-sabotage.
For you, at what point did you start sitting down and reviewing those trades?
I've always been documenting and reviewing. Maybe because if I look at the team today, their review is much more extensive than I do even till today. But I'm still very aware of every single trade I've done. And I still look at statistics. I mean, it's much more advanced today than it was before. I mean, today we look at hit ratios, we look at our edge. I mean, I didn't know what any of those meant. All I know is that I made money in this stock, I lost money. What went wrong? I mean, I think it's still kind of the same process if you think about it, except now you have much more advanced statistics. Now I can tell you straight off the bat that my hit ratio is around 60%. And then my edge is around 2.5 to 3, depending on the environment. And this goes for all markets, parang ganun. Because I have a data now. Before I didn't have that data, parang ganun.
And that you can incorporate it into your trading. I mean, having those numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
My next question, Edmund, would be, when did you start having consistent returns in the market with the use of a trading system?
Well, I think I've always been consistent. And not to brag, I mean, I don't have those outstanding returns like some of those traders that we have. Like we have a trader that's like up 80% per year for the last 4 years in the Philippines, right? I don't have those outstanding returns because if like in my mind, you average 25, 30 over a long period of time, you'll still be a billionaire. And it's still about trying to manage your account properly, consistently, and even at a bigger monetary value, you can still achieve your system can still achieve that, right? Sometimes because like some systems that can only like be sustained at low level of values, let's say 100,000 or 1 million below, right? Sometimes it might work, right? But like to achieve consistent returns over a long period of time and in big values, that's a different story, right? So like if I tell myself, if I'm achieving like 25% per year, I mean, fantastic returns. It's just about replicating year and year.
And compounding that. I mean, Warren Buffett,
100%.
20% per year, di ba? Pero he's known as one of the best of all time. But he does it consistently.
Yeah. So for me, consistency is more important than the absolute returns for 1 or 2 years. If you show me like a 10-year returns, then good for you. I'm happy for you.
What I appreciate about what you're teaching in Caylum is the system is scalable. Whether you're handling $100,000 account, $1 million, 10 million, 100 million, that's something that is replicable, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to promote. That consistency and what type of market it will do well. I think that's what we're trying to promote, right? Don't get me wrong. I mean, some systems, it's like, I can understand why, let's say, smaller accounts, you want to be going all in all the time, diba? Kasi obviously, I mean, the nice thing is that when you're at a smaller account, you also have that replenishable quantity because you get a job, so like you make money and then you can save again.
Right.
So you're not starting from a big amount. The real challenge is that, let's say you grow it and then you do well, right? How does it become sustained? And then when it reaches a big amount, then you make that one mistake. Let's say you lose $1 million pesos. It's not easy to recover $1 million pesos, diba? It's like you lose $1 million. How do you recover it the next day? Parang ganon. It's not easy. So, I mean, these are challenges that some people face as they get more money and as they get bigger accounts, right? How many times have somebody approached me that, I mean, I lost like so much money because I put so much money in hype stock, in a speculative hype stock, and then they get stuck because they're the ones buying at the top, right? How many times have I heard a story like people tell me, hey, Edmund, I've doubled or tripled my money because, I mean, na-jackpot ako sa third telco eh. Parang ganun, right? I've heard all the stories, right? It doesn't surprise me. Like, I'm happy for you. Don't get me wrong. Just be careful because, I mean, I know many stories also of people making so much money and losing it, right? It only takes one mistake. That's the always things in my mind.
I remember chairman would say, isang guhit lang. Yun ba yun? I mean, is that what you're saying? Yung isang guhit, meaning one mistake is all you need and then
yeah,
it goes all the way.
Isang guhit lang eh. Isang guhit, one mistake. I mean, diba? And then you're out and then wala na. I mean, we've had, like, there's some stories like, there's an architect that made over 100 million with a US company, right? And then he wanted to quit doing architecture because it's easier making money in the stock market, diba? So he didn't quit naman, luckily, right? But the thing is, he lost it all because he bet the same amount in one other stock and it went down 40-50%. So it is what it is, diba? And sometimes you don't know. I mean, the hard part about the stock market is that you don't know if it's luck or if it's skill. Let's say kumita ka, hindi mo alam kung maswerte ka lang eh, or marunong ka talaga eh. Pero pag kumita ka na malaki, yung first association mo, marunong ka. Right? You never tell yourself it's because of luck. You always tell yourself because it's skill. Diba? Kasi laki ng kinita mo eh.
Right. For us, Edmund, no, going back to bowling, I remember, it's like you threw a strike. Ang question is, kaya bang ulitin? Alam mo ba paano mo ginawa? Right? Or if you roll a perfect game, was it chamba lang? Or can you really do it again in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not as good as you, but I get the concept.
For the viewers, though, Edmund was a really great bowler. And it was really nice knowing him then.
So,
so Edmund, you shared your trading statistics, right? 60% hit, edge of 2.5 to 3. That means that your average gain is 2.5 to 3 times your average loss, right? So that's very high, considering that you can make money with a 30% hit ratio as long as you are able to manage your risk reward. My question is, in what practices help you achieve those numbers?
You know, when you're looking at those two numbers, they come hand in hand. So it differentiates for every single individual. I mean, like the traders that we have, we only ask for a 35% hit ratio. Diba? But some of these traders, like the superstar traders that we have, some of them go through that like 6-7 times edge. So whatever they make, let's say like in terms of scratching, kasi mas mabilis sila mag-scratch eh, diba? Compounded over time, right? Some of the traders do much more better than I do, especially on annual return. The reason why it's because, I mean, they compound it, they do so many trades, and then In terms of edge, they make more money kasi puro small scratches eh. Diba? So it's not necessarily about which system is better. It's about what's more comfortable to your end. Diba? So I think it's important for viewers to understand that when you're looking at hit, it has to look at coinciding with edge ratio. Diba? And also plus churn. Because if you're churning little, then you won't make money also. So if you're churning more, then depends. It can be a double-edged sword. Because if you're making more money and your churn is higher, then that's probably a good sign. But if you're losing and you're churning more, obviously that's not a good sign either. So it depends. It really depends. I mean, to get to that level, I mean, siguro, I mean, how you get comfortable in your skin. We characterize traders kasi based on 3 types of trading. I mean, how would I put it? Levels, maybe. So usually we characterize the first one is a prototype trader. A prototype trader is basically the ones that just follows the rule. Doesn't know too much what their forte is, but what we ask from them is just be a break-even trader. So that's the prototype. Sorry, we have the break-even trader first and then the prototype. So the break-even is tabla ka lang, right? The prototype trader is hopefully you can make that. If you can make that 1.5% to 2% per month, then you're good. Let's say especially the first 3 years of your career. So think of it this way. If you're making 2% return per month, that's 24% per year. That's just 2% return. What we normally ask for them is maybe a 35% hit ratio and a 2.5 times to 3 times edge. That's usually what a prototype trader statistics look like, right? So the question is, when you're the prototype trader, which is fantastic already, the question is, how do you bring yourself to the next level, right? Whether it's in terms of being an alpha trader or a beta trader. Just to describe it, like an alpha trader is picking stocks. So when you're picking stocks and you're picking well, then can you bring that 35% to 45 or 50? Because just a 35, let's say like you're right 3 times in out of 10. If you can bring that to 4 times out of 10, that's a lot already. So it's actually one better trade, one good trade better. That's what we call about an alpha trader. So how do you bring your edge? Obviously, it comes through time. You get to see many different scenarios so that when you're creating your own mental models, you know, hey, I remember all HC going up because I saw what happened with AC energy. It might happen the same format. Example lang, right? So it's these types of scenarios that what alpha traders and usually the experience comes into play, right? Because you've seen it before. Wow, this is an excellent trade. They might speculate the same way that they saw with AC energy, for example. Right? That's what we call an alpha. A beta is somebody that churns more, is already a prototype trader, but is able to churn more because they're just wide view where they see everything, right? And during the good markets, they churn so much and they'll play everything and everything does well. And I usually describe Brian Gomez as it because he's usually the beta trader because he sees everything, papatulan niya lahat, and in a good market, boom, they do extremely well, right? So their hit ratio might be 35%. Their edge might be 3.5 to 4 or even higher on average. But when it comes to churn, boom, that's where the bubawi sila ng malaki. Right? Because like for me, like I'm usually the alpha side is because I pick stocks there. So let's say, for example, you give me a bank. I'll probably tell you like BDO is the best bank. Right? That's why I won't buy Metro Bank and BPI. Sila Brian would buy all 3. Technically, umakyat naman lahat sila eh.
Right.
Diba? Right? Me, I'm trying to pick the best one. Siya, he'll play everything. Kasi indirectly, bebenta naman niya kung hindi naman umakyat eh.
Right.
Diba? So it's differences in terms of personality.
Right. So is it correct to say, Edmund, na as long as your hit is above 35, your edge is greater than 2 or 2.5. The specific stats after that is depending on your personality na. Is that right?
Yeah. And then you get comfortable on it. I think that's the important part. Because, you know, every single person has different expectations, right? I mean, I can hold long through a stock, right? That's why, I mean, I'm really, not on the lifestyle, but I'm really a Jesse Livermore advocate, right? Because, you know, some of the greatest quotes always come from him, right? Because it's very rare to see somebody have that sitting power, right? Then there are some individuals that like to chop sardines and like to sell on the night market every single day. Parang chuchupita ka ng 10 pesos, 20 pesos every single day. And then over time, compounded, okay. Right? But my personality is that I really try to look at stuff from a big picture perspective.
Did you try different setups, Edmund? Like, did you try before day trading? Parang, did you try it all, and then that's when you realize that, okay, this is what I'm comfortable with, this style, this method?
I'll be honest, I still trade everything. We just characterize them like in differences. Let's say like momentum swing, position, counter trend. I do everything. Intraday, I do everything just to see it, right? I think you have to, because then you'll be able to see things. It might not be your forte. No, I look, I can't recommend this for everybody, but I do everything just to see it all, right? Because for me, like, it gives me added validation, right? Even though it might be a smaller size or a smaller trade, right? I try to understand everything from every single angle, right? Because then I know when everything is, how would I put it, aligned, then that's the time I can go for the jugular.
I think you mentioned this before na not every setup has to be your forte, but you need to understand all those setups so you know that, like, it's like the stages or development of stuff.
Yeah, it's the same case also with Chairman. I always share this, story with Chairman, because sa totoo lang, si Chairman, take everything that he says with a grain of salt, right? I know how he made his money. It's not in, like, I'll be honest. Yes, he does okay in trading, but it's not the big amount that he does. And if you look at his trading size, sa totoo lang, mali lang ang trading size niya, right? But when he sees something big, that's when he'll go like bet. He calls it bet the ranch. We call it bet the ranch, where all in guy, right? It's usually like in times of panic or in times of capitulation, like in 2020 in pandemic, right? When we're seeing things sell off rapidly, yan, eyes wide open na kami lahat, especially siya, right? But let's say like things are chugging along and then doing well. Let's say like the last 6 months, things are just chugging along, doing well. But long he's just trading. And we always call it coffee money, parang ganun. Because it's like coffee money trading, parang ganun.
It's like his system of being just aware of what's happening.
Yes, and he needs to be in the market to be able to explain it and to tell you what's happening.
Yeah. Funny thing, I was watching one of his videos yesterday, where it was, I think, the 2018, 2019 summit, and you would always kid him that wala ka naman ginagawa, you're just waiting for a crisis. So for him, that was his forte. When there's panic, okay, it's time to be aggressive. Is that right?
100%. Yep. That's where he's always more like the most aggressive in times of panic and in times of extreme fear. He's always trying to, but don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like Chairman trades so much just to see lang. Just to feel it, just to feel the market, just to see it. He does make money, don't get me wrong, on the trading, but it's all smaller sizes. He needs to feel it. Same thing with me. You need to see it, you need to feel it. Because it's hard to explain and hard to do it if you don't like feel these things.
In the next video, we will talk about disciplines of professional stock market traders.
Edmund, do you maintain separate journals for different markets? Let's say for the Philippine market, for the Hong Kong market, for the US market?
If you have any questions in this video, please feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and see you on our next video. God bless you.